Beyond Yogasiddhi by Swami Sri Atmananda. In this talk, we cover the process of perception and the mechanism that veils the embodied being, the signals arising through the flow of sensory perception produce waves in the field of consciousness. The true nature of the being is always reflected in the Chit of the embodied being. Accumulation of the waves in the Chit obscures the reflection and prevents the embodied being from perceiving its true nature. We now present the 5 Chitta Vrittis, Part 1, Pramana.
Welcome all great yogis to our interaction on the series Beyond Yogasiddhi. In our last interaction, we discussed the concept of yoga and what happens to one if one does yoga, and we discussed the process called yoga. The purpose of yoga is to manifest the very mission for which the Brahman entered into the body, became embodied, and is known as embodied being. So, what is it that made the being forget its own nature, its own state? We discussed that the Chitta Vrittis, the tendencies, the flow of samskaras, that is responsible for covering the original awareness of the being. Now, these waves are called the Chitta Vrittis, the Vrittis that flows through the Chit, that is called Chitta Vritti. The Vrittis are like the waves of the ocean. So these Vrittis can be grouped under 5 major heads. Pramana, that is a direct perception. Viparjaya, that is false perception, wrong perception. Vikalpa, that is alternative perception. Nidra, that is absence of perception or sleep. And Smriti, that is the process of regaining the original awareness. Today, we will see what does each of these terms mean. And I will expand it from an experiential angle, so that your understanding will be through your experience. Your understanding should not be through my experience. And because we are talking of yoga, and for us, yoga is not a concept to be understood. Yoga is a process that needs to be experienced. Always, throughout this series, we have to remember this fundamental difference between yogic understanding and a non-yogic understanding. Non-yogic understanding is only understanding through mind and the logic of the mind. But yogic understanding is not through the logical mind, but through the experiential process. So, the first Chitta Vritti is called the direct perception. The father of Yogadarshana gave it a name. He said it is Pramana. Pramana loosely can be translated in English as proof. But I am using a different term. I say it is perceptual proof. The proof that can be perceived. Perceived how? Perceived through any of the 5 organs of perception. And we have 5 organs of perception. The organ to see, the organ to hear, the organ to touch, the organ to taste, the organ to smell. So these are the 5 organs of perception. And through these organs, we get direct experiential knowledge about an object. This is objective world. Everything is an object. Everything in this manifest universe, in the planet, everything is an object. So, it can be an object of sight, which you can see through your eyes. It can be an object of sound, which you can receive through your ears. It can be an object of taste, which you can know through your tongue. It can be an object of smell. You can know it through your nose. Or it can be also an object of touch, which you can know from your skin. So, whenever we receive some signal coming from this universal Prakriti or the Prakriti within any individual, that signal is received by us, by you, by me, by all of us. So, the signal is coming from the universal Prakriti to us about an object. Its a nature, its a size, its a quality, its attribute. So who is sending the signal? The universal Prakriti is sending the signal. About what? About the nature, the attribute, the quality of an object. And these objects are basically 5 types. That signal is received by an organ that is capable to receive that signal. So like if I saw a tree, how this possible, how the process of seeing happens? There must be an object called a tree. There must be someone to see. Object is called a sight. One who sees is called a seer. So there must be a seer. There must be a sight. And there must be a process that connects the seer with the sight. That is called the process of seeing. So seer, sight, and the process of seeing. This is the entire mechanism of manifestation. In our Vedic terminology, we use 3 beautiful words. As in English we say, seer, sight, and the process of seeing. Drishya, drishti, and drashta. In Sanskrit we say, drashta is the seer, drishya is the sight or the object, and drishti is the process of seeing. In Vedic terminology, we call it Rishi, Devata, and Chanda. Rishi is the seer. Devata is the sight. That which connects the seer with the sight is called chanda, or the rhythm, the meter. So, we have to understand this concept not through our mind, but through our experiential process. Then only we will know what is called the Chitta Vritti Pramana. What is Pramana Chitta Vritti? And once we understand this process through experiencing the process within, then it will be easy for us to understand what is Viparjaya Chitta Vritti, what is Vikalpa Chitta Vritti, what is Nidra Chitta Vritti, and what is Smriti Chitta Vritti. So, Pramana is perceptual knowledge of an object. We say the orange is sweet. Someone say orange is sour. Someone says orange can be both sweet or sour. Now, when we are entering into the process called yoga, we should also have conceptual clarity of what we are speaking about, the objective world. Who says orange is sweet? We say yes, he is right. Someone will say orange is sour. We say yes, you are right. Someone will say orange can be either sweet or sour. Yes, you are also right. And then the fourth person says, what are you talking? Everybody is right. How can everybody be right? They are talking of something totally opposite to each other. Then, how can we make this person understand that all the three are right? One way is to argue with him. No. Orange, I have taken, everybody has taken. You go ask 20 people. Some will say, yes, sweet. Those who have got sweet orange, for them it is sweet. Those who have taken this sour orange, for them it is sour. One who has tasted both sweet and sour orange, he knows, oh yeah, it can be sweet, it can be sour, depending on the ripeness of the orange. So, you great scholar, perhaps you have never tasted orange in your life. You have to bring him directly to experiential plane. If you are not able to bring him directly to the experiential plane, what will happen? Conclusion will never be drawn. Argument will come more and more. This is the difference between philosophy and yoga. So, teaching to the mind is one, and uncovering the soul is another way. Yoga is uncovering the soul, because the whole universe is object. And one who is gaining knowledge about this universe, or any object of the universe, is himself the subject. There can be one subject, everything else object. So, Pramana is a Chitta Vritti that gives the subject, the seer, the yogi, the knowledge about the objective world through perceptual proof. And because this is continuously happening, this layer and layer and layer after this perceptual proof, this perceptual knowledge of the object is continuously there, maybe 1,000 layer or 1,000,000 layer. The capacity of the subject to see the reality beyond the object or through the object is covered, is clouded. If somehow, by some technique, if this continuous movement of The signal coming from the perceptual world of object can be made still, means no more movement from the objective world. For some time, if it can be made still, then the subject within will be able to see the reality that is hidden within the relativity. Yoga is seeing the real through the unreal. Yoga is feeling the real through the transitory, temporary, fleeting sensation of the unreal. And yoga is the power to bring out the real that is immanent in the unreal. In our series of Beyond Yogasiddhi, we are going to attain for the purpose of feeling that you are the subject and you, the subject, is immanent in every object. When you can have this feeling, and this feeling is not a fleeting feeling, it is a permanent, even when you are having the experience of the objective world through the organs of perception, that time you will be able to fulfill the mission of your own descent to the body. Yoga we should do to complete our evolution in consciousness and get back our original state of awareness. To do this, we must first have direct knowledge, experiential knowledge of what is it that is covering, clouding, veiling me, the subject, the awareness. There are 5 categories of signals coming from the object and sent by the universal Prakriti. That is why our true vision we have lost. Pramana is the first category. That perceptual world, the knowledge of the perceptual world that has entered into our mind, that are stored in our subtle mind, that has contaminated our transparent, pure vital. Because of these waves coming again and again, we are not able to see the real, feel the real, and because we are unable to see the reality, feel the reality, we are actually reacting or acting. But if we can somehow see the reality, we will neither act nor react. We will simply respond. The ability to respond to every signal that comes from Prakriti, whether it is universal Prakriti or Prakriti hidden in any individual, that is called Yogasiddhi. So, Pramana Chitta Vrittis, because there are 5 organs of perception, each of the organ brings the signal and continuously feeds the subject. Lord, here is sweet fruit. Lord, this is beautiful flower. Lord, this is melodious music. Lord, this is soothing environment. This is such sweet fragrance. Please taste it. Please listen it. Please take it. Please touch it. because constant signals have come and the subject who entered to the form, the subject who entered into the Prakriti for its own mission is completely in a state of turmoil because these signals are coming from all sides and making him completely restless. That has happened to you, the subject that we call the being. That is the Atma who has entered the body and has acquired a title called Embodied. But the purpose of embodiment is completely forgotten. That's why mission of entering into body is never accomplished, and because it's never accomplished, the being has to come again and again and again and again through different bodies to complete the original mission for which it came. How can the yogi accomplish the mission? The first thing is the yogi must attain the power how to swim through these Chitta Vrittis, or how to keep himself floating on the Chitta Vrittis, or how to attain the capacity to fly above the Chitta Vrittis. 3 ways. Either you have to swim through, or you have to float on, or you have to fly above. Swim through is possible through yoga. We call it the procedure of a Tantra. Tantra is nothing but attaining the capacity, the strength to swim through these experiences of the 5 organs. That is why it's called Panchamakara, the 5 makara. So that is almost extinct in the present day world. It is not possible to really find anyone, such a master, who can actually guide us, teach us, show us the way to swim through the Chitta Vrittis. That's why Tantra is not the path of yoga for the people of the present era of cycle of ignorance. Next comes yoga. Yoga enables the seer, the subject, to attain the capability to float through, to float on the surface of the Chitta Vritti, but not being drowned by the waves of the Chitta Vrittis. And still masters are available, those who can guide a true seeker how to float on Prakriti but not be contaminated by Prakriti's trick. There is a third way. Neither go through the trouble of swimming through, nor also continuously keep your practice of floating. To float on water, you have to move your hand and leg, otherwise you will be drowned. There is a third way, that is simply fly over the ocean. Fly over the ocean because your destination is somewhere beyond the ocean. That is called the path of Gyana. Through Gyana you can transcend, you can fly. Through yoga, you can float. Through Tantra, you can swim through. Depending on your system and depending on what type of a guide is available to you, you can choose any of the three approaches to the process called yoga. So, Pramana Chitta Vritti is nothing but the signals being received from Prakriti. Some are throwing us into action drive, and those are samskaras, signals that we cannot respond or react or act on. It goes deeper and gets stored up there. What happens to you when you purchase a basket of apple? Do you eat all the apple in one day? No. You store it to be gradually, you will eat whenever you need. The same way, Mother Prakriti sends you signals constantly. Why? Because Prakriti is motion. But Purusha is not motion. It is static. Prakriti is dynamic. Purusha, that is the subject, is static. Why it is static? Because it's all-pervading. So, you are that all-pervading subject, and this whole universe is the object, and this object is beautiful, this object is bright, this object is abundant, because it is meant for you to experience. That is why we say Prakriti is beauty, Prakriti is variety, Prakriti is abundance. But what happens? Since these signals are constantly coming, this subject, this seer, this Purusha, always is in a state of turmoil. So whenever the yogi loses its tranquility, loses its peace, its state of joy and bliss, the yogi is said to have been trapped by the objective world of Pramana. So Pramana Chitta Vritti is a process that completely veils, clouds, covers, contaminates, dilutes the pure state of the being. Because these are basically through the organs of perception, that is why all yoga systems have said the first step in yoga is to control your senses. This is the reason all the path of yoga say sense control is the first requirement for entering into yoga. So this Pramana Chitta Vritti, first is Pratyaksha, is that direct, what I explained, the direct knowledge derived through the organs about the objective world. Then there is another variety of this Pramana Chitta Vritti that is called Anumana, means gaze. You saw the smoke and you were thinking there must be fire. So, this is called Anumana. You are gazing. From one you are drawing another, getting another additional knowledge. The state of the being gets clouded, veiled, trapped, covered by this second attribute of Pramana Chitta Vrittis also. You see a policeman passing through your street and you start guessing, oh, there must be a thief somewhere in the neighborhood. There might not be a thief, but you are guessing. This is called Anumana. Then there is a third type that also traps and veils. That is called Agama. Agama is the knowledge that is derived through the scriptures. But these scriptures are of four types. Knowledge that is derived by human beings. First is called Shruti Pramana. Shruti means we call it the Vedas, the original. This is revealed wisdom, revealed knowledge. Nobody composed it, nobody wrote it. That is called Shruti, we call in India, it's called Veda. Next is Smriti Pramana. Smriti is somebody had revealed and somebody listened and he himself is now interpreting that. Like now, what you are now, you are in a Smriti Pramana. You are in a Pramana Chitta Vrittis now. And this is Smriti. Upanishads are coming under this category. Shruti are Veda, Smriti are all Upanishadic text. Shruti and Smriti. Next is coming the third category is Purana. Purana is the mythology. Means it is dealing with the myth. Why it is called a myth? Because that which you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot feel, which is beyond your sensory perception, but actually it exists. So Puranas are scriptures written by someone, depict the life of God when God took up a form. What he did, why he did, what happened that brought the unmanifest to the manifest with full divine power. So that is called Purana. It is ancient. Next is coming the Ithihasa. We call it history. These are written by human beings. In that category, if it is dealing with the rise and fall of nations or a rise and fall of individuals, those who are having all the limitations of human nature, these are called Ithihasa. So, this, be it Shakespeare's drama or be it this great poetry, be it the history of any country or any nation or any race, these are all in one category. Smriti and Purana are considered Agama Pramana. Veda is called Nigama Pramana. One who has knowledge of Nigama and Agama, both, means one who has the capacity to receive the revelation and has the ability to transmit what has been received is called a rishi. Transmit. Something is received. What is that received? That is Nigama, that is Veda. The eternal wisdom is received. And then it is transmitted through the person's revelation. Such a person is also called a rishi, because he is able to not only see the truth, feel the truth, but also he is capable to make another person see the truth in him, in her, feel the truth in him and her. But if the person himself has not attained the capacity to receive the revelation and has not attained the capacity to transmit what has been received through revelation, such a person, he is not actually in the Nigama layer of Gyana. He may be at the Agama layer of Gyana. And Agama layer of Gyana is not pure Gyana. Something is added to it. What is added? To it is added the human conditioning, human coloring, human emotion. When this is added, the meaning gets distorted, diluted, and the power is gone. Because this power of transmission, it is not getting transmitted. Because what will get transmitted? That which is uncontaminated, pure, that only can be transmitted. But if it's contaminated with your intellect, with your memory, your mind, your impression, your samskar, you will struggle to teach, but you cannot transmit anything. In Yogasiddhi, this creates an obstacle. What is that? The Agama. What has been read? How can you be saying like this? I have read in the book, and that book is written by such a great world scholar. That book is written by such a great master. Understand? These are Pramana Chitta Vrittis in Agam category. So, our Chitta Vrittis are so much conditioned by this Agama, this Anumana, and this Pratyaksha, that direct sensory, perceptual knowledge, hypothetical knowledge, and knowledge derived through explanation but not through transmission. That is called the Agama. These three create big obstacle for the being to maintain its state. This is called the Pramana. Now from here, we will go to the next class to know more about this process called Yoga, Yogasiddhi, and that which lies beyond Yogasiddhi. Thank you for listening, and I wish you find it useful for your sadhana and your life. We'll continue in the next class. Bless you, love you.